Well, guys, hello. Welcome to stream. We're going to be talking about less about Matthew's Strahd game and more about Hoard of the Dragon Queen.
Do nothing but talk about my Strahd game.
You're like, I do what I want. But I want to do some cool announcements before we get started, which is that I will be working with Jasper's Game Day, which you can see right here on the screen. It should be available for you to see. So you can see Jasper's Game Week is a major event, and Jasper's Game Day is a charity that works on suicide prevention, and they typically have been working with D&D Beyond to bring a week of Dungeons and Dragons to the internet. But now, let's just scroll down and see, is there anyone, who's this? Anyone we know here? So I have teamed up with Paizo and What Do You Do Pods, which their name is Jason, and they are just fantastic, and they know everybody in the Pathfinder, Starfinder, Paizo fandom world of bringing podcasts and actual play content to people. And we are going to bring 3 whole days of Paizo and Pathfinder of Paizo goodness with Pathfinder and Starfinder to this very channel. Yes, this channel where we do sit right now.
Hearthsinger Games?
Will be Hearthsinger Games is going to be hosting a charity event for Jasper's Game Day with tons of people, May 8th through 10th. I can't confirm the guest list yet, but we are talking to a lot of incredible people. Some that you will know from playing D&D on the internet, some that you will already know from playing, from enjoying watching like different streams that maybe I have been on potentially, and yeah, so it'll be really, really fun to have all of these awesome game folk here on this channel. We're ready to host. We won't have the technical difficulties I just had. What a time to go for it. But yeah, that's what's up. Hey, Cookie, what's up? You said you're playing Wolfenstein because I love the alternate reality in it. I recommend getting the alternate reality collection if you get all the Wolfenstein games in one. Who doesn't like to wake up to killing some Nazis? Well, who doesn't? I think that's fair to say. What's up, Cookie? Welcome. We generally make tabletop RPG content on this table, on this table, and on this stream, and that's what we're going to be doing here. So I will post more about this Jasper's Game Day and Game Week event in the Discord. This literally just went live today, so very, very excited about that, and I wanted to kind of cover that so that people know that it's going to happen. This is the first time I've talked about it because it's the first time it has been #confirmed on the internet. But today, have a look right here. Oh yeah, that hunting lodge though. What's up, Geeks for Good? How's it going? Boom Boom Marino, indeed. Thank you so much for that subscriptione. Guys, we are within spitting distance of our sub goal for the day. Don't say ew. Don't say ew to me.
Spitting.
You're spitting. He's the spitting image of him. You know, the question is here, has anybody in chat played Hoard of the Dragon Queen? And if so, have you gotten this far? This is where my players are about to go. Now, cast your minds back because I think I need to update you all on what happened since the last time I told you all what I was going to do to this party. So, number one, Matt and I, like a week or so ago, decided that we were going to build out an alternative plan for if this paladin wanted to go after her son. Spoilers, she did go after her son. Now they have her son, and they have turned back around and have returned to this castle that's this giant dungeon that they could have been working their way through, but instead they were like, you know what, we're gonna do something that's not in the book. And I was like, that's fine, because that's what happens when you're a DM, especially when you're kind of on the rails with one of these pre-written adventures. You gotta be a little bit flexible. What do you feel like about that, Matt, just in general? How do you prep for that aspect of running a pre-written adventure?
Of when they do a thing that's not in the book?
Just like if you're running an adventure, right, and then have to veer off to the side because they're suggesting that they want to take care of something which to them seems like a very, very high priority, but it's not something that's covered in the book at all. Like, how do you handle that in the moment or prep for that sort of thing?
Well, I mean, you know, them doing the unexpected is always hard to prep for, right? But you can certainly have ideas in mind, and if it is something that you have, you know, hints of that they're going to go for at some point, you can make notes for it. But sometimes, even the greatest of DMs are just flying by the seat of their pants. Sometimes.
Yeah. You just gotta kind of brace for the chaos. I like to call it getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. Because I think as GMs, there's like a feeling that like, oh shit, we gotta prepare. And obviously I'm doing session prep on the internet, so I clearly feel that way. But it's kind of a prepare so that you understand like what makes your world tick so that you can be flexible within that. Disgusting, says Geeks for Good, who has opinions about diverting players from the path. No, Geeks for Good is probably one of the most flexible DMs I've ever played with, to a fault, like where I trust them implicitly, but I'm always like, literally anything could happen. I'm very scared. Juicy Garland says, who's Stan and why is he so disco? Geeks for Good says, wow, thank you. And I do want to address Cookie Associate, who says they've never played D&D before. And I just want to tell you, well, welcome. You're welcome here. There's lots of people who haven't played but want to try or want to know what it's all about. And your desire to do a Wolfenstein D&D sounds pretty cool. I've never played Wolfenstein. Stein? Matt, any opinions on pronunciation?
No, I'm gonna let you keep flipping back and forth.
Keep being a fake nerd on the internet.
Generally, and I'm sure Cookie will fix me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Wolfenstein is how I generally hear it.
Wolfenster.
Yeah.
Wolfenster.
Wolfenberg, yes.
Wolfenbergerson. So yes, there are so many cool kind of either systems that you might like that aren't D&D that work within those worlds or worlds like it, or lots of people just like the way the 5e system works and will rewrite kind of a skin for it. One of my favorite skins is Star Wars SW5E for 5th edition, and I think they do it really well, although obviously the shut up, Matt. Matt's telling me to take a gamer gulp because he knows I'm dying. I don't know why I'm so dry. But yeah, there is a Witcher system out there. There's also a Dragon Age system that's out there. So even though
Dragon Age one's pretty fun,
you know, D&D is like the call that gets sounded a lot. There's lots of really cool stuff out there that you might like, Cookie. And so if it's not D&D, that is okay. That's okay. There are lots of other systems. Krifu, what's up? How is your new life in Europe? God damn it. Everybody's moving around, being all crazy and shit. What were we saying? We were talking about
doing like when players how do you prep for the unpreppable?
So let's take it back. So here's what happened. They went after this thing. They went after the Paladin Sun. They found the Sun. If you were here on Saturday, we rolled the Sun's stats and talked about the Sun because
one of your player, like the player who's playing the mom, is switching to their son.
Yeah.
Right?
She's like, I want to play my son now. I'm over this, which is so funny because she has not enjoyed playing her paladin the entire time. So we made her paladin a fighter. And now she's like, yeah, no, I still want to be my son. And I'm almost a little mad because I was really excited to play the son. But I've gotten permission from her to take that character on like a whole other journey. So tonight in our game, we are going to let the rest of the team know that she's going to be switching characters, and we're going to start this whole new arc in the story. They're going to go through this portal at the bottom of this castle that's being run by this cult in a giant swamp called the Mere of Dead Men. They're going to go through an arcane circle through a portal to this hunting lodge, which is what we're going to learn about. But it is a perfect time for her to kind of switch up what she wants to do. See you later, Cookie. Thanks so much for stopping by, and we were glad to have you stick around. You know, give me a follow, hang out. It'll be fun. Join our Discord. There's lots of people who might be into talking about a Wolfenstein RPG over there for sure. Thanks Geeks for good. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about that happened was that Matt and I had gotten very, very excited about this character named Rezmir, who has this ability to cast darkness and then she has blind sight, so she can see in that darkness and nobody else can see in magical darkness, and then have advantage on attacks and do all sorts of extra damage. It was gnarly. I was so excited for it. And the stupid druid, and by stupid I mean extremely smart, the druid cast a spell called Daylight. Who
preps Daylight? My goodness.
Who would do? We're not even playing Strahd. What is the point of this? So let's pull up Daylight and just have a quick look-see at what it does. It's very annoying.
It's the light cantrip on steroids.
So Daylight does not require concentration, number one, which is bullshit. So no matter what I could do, I couldn't stop it from being there. It just exists. It has
Rezmir does not have a dispel or anything, right?
60-foot radius sphere, which means it's 120 feet wide.
So bright.
It's so bright. And then you can't stop it from happening. You can't dispel it. And it was very annoying. And I was frustrated about it because it literally made my BBEG just like a half dragon with a sword when she's supposed to be like this cool caster sword wielder combo. And so I just had her be terrified and run away because I think she would want to live, and it was very clear that it was going to go a different way. And so she ran away, left them to fight the rest of her forces. They won, they saved the day, they got the Paladin's son. And tonight in the game, before the game starts, we're going to address the fact that this player doesn't want to play this character. After this game, basically, I'm going to reveal a bunch of lore that I have about her son Ein and what happened to him when he was held by the Cult of the Dragon, which gives me a chance to deliver the stuff that I've been working on and help me feel like I did a thing. And it will also give her a chance to have Moira say goodbye to this party, which I think is really key when you have somebody who wants to end a particular character's story, giving them a chance to put a little bit of a bow on it before they hand it over to you. And I have gotten her go ahead and her permission to take the character wherever I want after she has the ability to do that. Have you ever had to do that for somebody before, Matt, or done it yourself as a player?
I have not. So I have had people want to respect their characters and play something else. Right. And that's pretty easy to hand wave of, oh yeah, I've always been able to smite or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I've not had... You didn't notice? I do it all the time. Yeah. But I've never had anyone want to just retire a character. Mm-hmm. But we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's hard. In a way, I felt badly. I felt like this is something I've done wrong because I really liked Moira and wanted, I created all this stuff for Moira, but also, I have to remind myself that this player got the good of the character, right? They got to, they got to experience all of the arc that I had pretty much, most of the arc that I had planned for them.
Right.
And so it's not it's not a refusal of me. You know what I mean? which I think can happen for some GMs, is just to take so much onto yourself as someone who's, serving the group in this role of, arbiter of the world and the rules, to take it onto yourself. And there's a lot of things you should take responsibility for, but as long as people are happy, it's not like she's been miserable playing the game. She just didn't want to be an upfront fighting paladin or fighter. That's not just where her joy is in the game. I think she thought as a paladin initially she would get more spells, and then I think as a fighter she just missed having any spells at all, which is a thing. Geeks Are Good says next time have counterspell.
So here's the thing about Resmir: she is not actually a spellcaster.
Yeah.
She has a few things that are granted to her because she is wearing like a fancy magic item from Tiamat or something, like the Black Mask, I think.
Yeah.
So she has a few of these tricks, but she does not have.
She's not a caster, so if that shit happens, it's just.
If she comes back, maybe she has more gifts.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? The thing is, what I wanted them to have, what the trick there, right, was I didn't want to let them kill like one of the major BBEGs that easily.
Yeah.
In a field somewhere, I wanted her fight to be more interesting than that. And now I think she has an idea of who these people are and will be more prepared for dealing with them in the future. And they're definitely on Cult of the Dragon's Most Wanted at this point. So I think everybody is now kind of aware that these, kind of idiots who stopped them back in a town back in the day just won't give up and are really up their ass around the corner. So
who are you guys?
They'll have more of a sense of how to deal with it moving forward. But I gave them the reward of once she left, like they absolutely trounced the rest of the encounter. So I didn't want it to feel like, well, I'm running away because now I can't win the game as a dungeon master, right? Like I don't get to win. That's kind of the conceit of Dungeons and Dragons. But I did want her to matter. So I felt role-playing the fact that like in this moment, she suddenly realized for the first time that somebody could defeat her and ran away into the woods out of fear, I think is an important beat to hit if you're gonna like have a BBEG run out of a fight at some point.
No.
What's up, Stabby?
I've got a question for you.
Yes,
because you just said something that I've been thinking about. Like when you're running a long-term campaign and your heroes start doing impressive things, how do you have the world like react to that?
When the heroes start doing impressive
like when they start doing impressive things and like the word gets out that, oh hey, they took down like this minor evil thing and oh look at Kitty.
I has Kitty.
Like how do you react to that? Or like they are just, gleaming head to toe from magic items. Like how do you have the world react to them as like I guess an adventuring group?
Well, I've only had a couple of times for it to happen, and one of them in this particular situation, right? Because they've been kind of on their own for a lot of it, and then when they were on a caravan with the Cult of the Dragon, they were kind of the heroes that protected the entire caravan for like a month and a half on the road. So they definitely had the opportunity, I would say, to be seen, and that was where people started to take note of the fact that they were more than the average bear, if that makes sense. Geeks Are Good says that's my favorite part. So that aspect is. Like, are you asking me how exactly I have that manifest, or?
Well, like, I have had some games where, like, we get to about, like, level 4 or 5, and we've done a little bit of stuff, and we'll roll into a new town, and the DM will say something like, oh, heroes, we've heard about all of your grand adventures, and my cynicism just is like, fucking how?
Fucking how?
What is this news network? Who's out there?
Adventurers. Aren't you? What do you mean? They're live on Twitch every day, streaming your antics.
Exactly. I understand that. Oh, okay, yeah, you are. You're dressed in fancy duds, and you certainly look important. Maybe. I know some PCs just tend to look shabby intentionally because that's their vibe.
Because that's how they do.
but the idea that like I hate treating it like it's a video game where somehow on some weird level all of these NPCs are on a hive mind.
Yeah, I would say like the cult tends to know who they are if they're not in disguise at this point, because they are sending word back and forth with each other, sending messages, a lot of that stuff. But the in towns that they go to, like when they were in Waterdeep after being heroes on the road for like a month and a half of in-game days, which meant like a year of time in our lives, like nobody, they were like, we're big asshole like heroes now, this is our time, and like nobody knew who they were. Like why would you in Waterdeep? So yeah, I mean, I don't really think about it that much because I just feel like people know you if they know you, but I don't have people in towns just randomly know who they are unless there's a reason to have heard of them.
Because, and this may just be me complaining about, but it was like a Rime of the Frost Maiden where, like, you know, it's snowing, roads are covered, there's very little travel, nobody really goes everywhere, and I run into another town, and it's like, oh, we heard about the cool thing you did in this other town.
Totally. And Geeks for Good it points it out really well. It's like, no one knows who you are. The transference of information is important. And I feel like if you want to make transference of information important for the party, then you have to realize that you can't just have somebody know something who wouldn't. So you have to think about how that stuff happens, I guess, in your world a little bit. I don't think about it that much because it's not my... I don't know. That's weird. But yeah, I want to get into now that I've had a chance to vent about how the characters are ruining my life as a dungeon master, and they're skipping all of Castle Neritar, which means they're skipping so much cool lore and so much information that, you know, is fine. It just will affect them later. It's not going to break the game. It's just going to make certain things more challenging. And when they complain that they don't have magical weapons or haven't gotten a new drop in a while, then I'll be like, well, you skipped an entire dungeon and that's on you. So
you have to go places and do things to get stuff.
Exactly. But I think they're making the right call. Like, I understand that I think sometimes I scare them too much. They're like, well, this sounds like it's going to be impossible. And I'm like, well, I'm just trying to make it sound scary. Bacon Golem says, who skips a dungeon? Like skipping school. Yeah. I think there are people who skip school too, Bacon. But also, welcome. What's up? How are you doing? Welcome to the Baby Bards. Look at Geeks Are Good being such a nice host in our chat today. I appreciate you so much. So let's talk about the Hunting Lodge. So
what is this
once
lost meat about?
Go into the next chapter of the story, they pass through a portal that is in the bottom of this dungeon, and they now have done enough research, and they've basically traveled. They had the druid do a bunch of wild shapes and scout almost the entire place, so they know a lot about what to avoid and some things they don't know. But they're going to be heading down into the bottom parts of the dungeon, and they know right where to go because they have a guide that they've persuaded to take them down to the portal, and they will go through to the Hunting Lodge. So let's read about it. Characters who follow Wormspeaker Resmir or Asbarajos with the aid of the teleportation circle in Castle Neritar's dungeon are deposited high in the Grey Peak Mountains. The change in climate is stark. The portal and a nearby lodge are buffeted by chill winds, and the surrounding countryside is heavily forested. The portal is one of several that predate the Cult of the Dragon, and it helps the cult leaders gather over large distances. Next to the portal is a hunting lodge used by a succession of local lords over the years. The lodge is a useful and central meeting place for high-ranking cultists, among them a wearer of purple named Talus the White. Talus feels strongly that she belongs in Severin's inner circle, but Severin doesn't trust her and recently appointed a dwarf named Varum as his worm speaker in charge of recovering the white dragon mask. The adventurers meet Talus and her servants, and they could end up fighting Talus and her crew in the lodge. They may also bargain and make a deal with Talus, striking against those who oppose her ascension. If they do the latter, she helps the party reach reach the nearby village of Parnist and aboard Skyreach Castle, which is the next chapter. But negotiations are fairly hazardous and might easily result in combat rather than a deal. Now, it's important to know about this, and I had totally forgotten that this was happening, but Talus in my story is someone that was recommended if it's in somebody's backstory to have known before. And Talus is actually a childhood friend of our druid, so I'm really excited to reveal that. And I didn't realize it was happening this soon. This is why you prep for sessions, right?
This is why you read ahead.
This is why you read ahead in the book. And I thought I had like a whole other day of time to run around in a dungeon. But no, no, they're just going here. Okay. If the players don't realize that the cult hopes to bring Tiamat to the realms, this chapter is the best time for that information to be revealed. Okay, well, they already know that, so that's fine. Talus won't mention any details such as masks or summonings. The cultists share a general belief that the time is right for Tiamat's arrival. So the characters can find several clues that encourage this belief. Okay, so let's think about this. Talus feels strongly that she belongs in Severin's inner circle. Severin doesn't trust her. Recently named Varum instead of you, and he is recovering the white dragon mask. So the white dragon mask is what Severin wants, and the black dragon mask is what worm speaker Resmir already has. The adventurers meet Talus and her servants. They can end up fighting Talus and the crew in the lodge. Okay, well, we'll get there. I think we have to read ahead a little bit more. What are your thoughts so far? Do you have any thoughts, Matt?
So I was reading this note about Talus, or sorry, it was Resmir's note, where like people who followed her through, like Resmir does not like Talus, and so she doesn't like warn Talus or anybody in the lodge that, oh hey, these adventurers are coming. And again, I'm thinking, because my brain always kind of works this way, is like, oh, this weird flow of information. The imagining like the heroes being super on guard and then kind of being curious as to why it's not. Like how do you like it's a very small note of information, but how would you ever like bring it to players?
So it seems like basically Resmir is trying to screw over Talus?
Yeah. Because like they are not friends. They are just in a cult together. Co-workers who do not care for each other.
Yeah. Which in a cult means you die, apparently. So well, let's read a little bit more about Talus, because I don't really have a plan yet, and I'm more interested in how that character is going to be presented to how that character is going to be presented to the party and what it's going to mean for Hyun, our druid. All right. So it says general features. The lodge is built in a comfortable but rustic style, and good tapestries and some hunting trophies festoon its rooms. It's basically, I have antlers in all of my decorating, which is important, an important thing to note. The wood floors are heavily scarred by claws. That makes sense, because lots of drakes. They have ambush drakes instead of hunting hounds. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, 8-foot-high ceilings. The lodge is not lit except by fireplaces and candles, so we'll have to look at the map in a little bit here on Roll20 and make sure that's all set. Okay, so the cultists who meet in the lodge come and go around planned gatherings. At this moment, things are in a lull. Talus believes she's the rightful bearer of the white mask, and that she was deeply wronged when custody of that mask went to her most hated rival, the dwarf Varum. a foolish creature whom Talus considers insultingly incompetent and worthless. She's been watching the cult's Hoard grow, and she hopes to still make her move to become a major figure within the cult hierarchy. Certainly, she has a lot of support among the cultists. Okay, so she is supported by a lot of people. Okay, so Rezmir, because they are enemies, Rezmir does not warn Talus that attackers might be coming through the portal on her heels, but instead slips off to Skyreach Castle with the intent of letting the adventurers destroy Talus. If the characters slew Rezmir, the Lodge's relative lack of watchfulness is not surprising. I guess that's the question. Another option I have here. You know what? Let's keep reading, then we'll decide what's best. If Rezmir survived the earlier chapter, the half-dragon meets with Captain Othelstan in Parnast to receive a full report on the status of the cult raids and to inform the captain of the possible arrival of the adventurers. Tracking her successfully requires a wisdom survival check. Okay, so they might ignore the lodge altogether. So that and they probably will, knowing my players. Let's ignore everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely want to have them see the lodge and see Hyun's friend before being presented with the option to go to Parnast after Rezmir. Okay, so Four-Armed Troll is a demon worshiper and a fanatical hunter of big game, okay? Nothing pleases him so much as the bringing blood and bones back to feed his ambush drakes, or the delightful terror of his more intelligent victims. Trespin cares mostly about combat and mayhem. He has found that serving the cult makes combat and mayhem more likely. He's very devoted to Talus. He serves the cult of the dragon enthusiastically. His 4 arms just make it easier to claw, rip, and shred anything too slow to escape his reach. Fun. We like it.
Mm-hmm.
Open this in a new tab. Let's have a look. Oh, look at this mossy boy. We love this. Look at this art. What a time to be alive. Okay, so he's got keen smell. He's got multi-attack. Regeneration, like all trolls. He makes 5 attacks? Jesus Christ.
That's right. 4 arms, 5 attacks. How does he do it?
Well, 4 arms and a bite with his mouth. His mouth. He do a bite with his mouth. Okay. Love it. Live it.
Good.
Let's... What is the 5th arm, says Stabby. It's he does a bite and then he has 4 claw attacks. So 1 claw for each arm and then a mouth attack.
This art, though, is...
It's very good.
Fantastic.
I like it.
He's got his little guard drake buddy, too.
Yeah, he loves the Drakey boys. He's a fan of Drake. Moving on. Okay, easy. All right. Cult signs and signals. Okay, this is always important for cult kind of culture, which I think is really key to running Hoard of the Dragon.
Culture.
Well, literally, it's culture. I know. It's funny. Because I think one of the key parts of running my take on Hoard of the Dragon Queen is understanding, like, the role of religion in daily life and how cultists are just people who believe a certain thing. They believe it super hard, and some of them have been taken advantage of, and that's something that I want to keep in mind as we look through this chapter here the first time, because we need to kind of paint a picture in our heads about why Talus left the farm that the druid worked on, and why a life with the cult was more attractive to her. In fact, let's take a little look-see doodle at Hyun's backstory real quick. So 2 things that we need to look out for here, and I've kind of pulled up before we went live and thought about a couple of things that we need to think about. So number 1, they're likely to go through the portal this section, so they're going to be level 8. So I need to make sure that any new encounters that get balanced with the fact in mind that they're going to be level 8 and not level 7. They will not have a paladin with them anymore. They will not have a barbarian with them anymore. They will instead be a group that is a monk, a sorcerer warlock, and a druid.
Now, we talked about your paladin switching off. What happened with the barbarian?
So the barbarian, this brings us to our new challenge, which is that I need to look for an opportunity to introduce a new player to the game. This is something we've been needing to do for a while, but kind of avoiding doing because of the stress of our pandemic lives, because we're pandemic fine.
Mm-hmm.
And we had somebody who was playing in the game originally, and then work has just made it, like work and health stuff has just made it so hard for them to join us that they had to leave the game. And that happened like probably 4 or 5 months ago. But as we like move forward in the game, and it's so hard to balance this for 4 people, let alone 3, it would be really nice to have another person. And it's also just like another skill set that I think they need, because right now what's happening is they get pretty, like, everyone uses everything. They can't get very far in particular situations because they're not sharing the load of all the action economy. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we need to look for an opportunity in this chapter to incorporate a new player character, and then I need to be able to like tell that player character the situation, the auspices that they are entering the story under, if that makes sense. It could be that they were a former cultist. It could be that they have been captured by the cultists and the characters rescue them. Like we just need to look for a good place for that to exist. What was I doing? I was coming in here looking for the campaign so that I can look at Hyun's backstory. Let's have a look here. All right. Notes. All right. From his early teens, Hyun trained to take up the mantle of green worker from his aging mother, learning to listen to the wind sniff out blight and calm both the wounded farmer and his livestock. A small homestead is his inheritance, containing a modest but comfortable abode, a pottery workshop, and a sizable garden. Over the generations, his family tended both their own garden and those of their village, Oakmoor, extending outwardly to the guardianship of the health of the soil, the crops, and those who till and toil. Before leaving, Hyun arranged for green workers from the region to visit when they can, save for such occasions, Oakmoor is without druidic guidance and aid. Okay, cool. So they basically didn't write anything about Talus in here, which means that I have a lot of leeway to go with. So let's make some notes here about important NPCs. Talis. Believes their right. They have earned the right to own and wear the white dragon mask. The other thing we want to write is that they were lived with Hyun, used to be a green speaker in, what did he say it was? Oakmoor. What a good name. Oakmoor is a great name. Thoughts?
Head empty.
Great. Perfect. Used to be a green speaker in Oakmoor.
Oakmoor, Ironwood.
It's true.
It's amazing you don't play more druids.
I've played one and she died. I learned my lesson.
That was enough.
I played one for 2.5 years, every single week. Here she is. her arm is missing. I don't know why it broke off, but we can
But I
say it was
mean-
eaten by the Kraken. But yeah, there she is.
I mean,
Farah Bee Stinger. She was perfect, and I loved her.
it was probably eaten off by a very large black dragon. Does not like to be pet unless she wants to be pet.
Okay, so used to be a green speaker in Oakmore, but left when the cult activity started. I think it's important that we come up with like a good reason that the cult was attractive to her. So she came from a place where this is something that's not in Hyun's backstory, but it is something we talked about. Believed that felt in Oakmore, she felt unsupported and like their clan, Elven, Wood Elf, their Wood Elf clan did not respect the work and toil of Hyun and his mother. She saw no point in continuing to work with the Wood Elves and was angered by Hyun's need to keep everyone happy. Okay, that makes sense. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay, so we need to figure out like what she loves about Hyun. Not necessarily romantically speaking, but like what does she, why would she be happy to see Hyun right now? I suppose like she would want to impress upon him like, this is what happens when I'm given power. See how high I've risen, right?
Mm-hmm. Now, for this page, could you zoom in
Yeah.
a bit?
Sure, yeah, I can do that.
Look at the ancient
Yeah,
eyes.
it's quite far away. Okay. Oh, that's not what you want. Hold on.
I mean, it was pretty good. It wasn't
It
terrible.
was, but then it went away. So there, this is what we want. Boom. I think that'll be probably a lot better.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We did it, guys. We're a part of this. All right, man, this music is so pleasant. Okay, so I think so what I've written here is she wants Hyun to understand how powerful he could have been if he had struck out on his own. She believes he's blinded by the long lives of the elves and their culture, which he clings to. Or at
Now,
least did.
will Talus try to recruit your druid?
Yeah, I think
Are they
recruitment.
still pulling the "Hey, we're cultists" shtick?
I won't know till they decide, but right now they're pretending to be cultists.
BFF cultist buddies, yes.
Yeah. So
Oh no,
let's
the betrayal.
read a little bit more here about cult signs and signals, because I feel good about what she's gonna say. Like her goal is to impress her power, and whether that means that like now she can bring in Hyun as an ally, where like she gets to be in charge and tell him what to do instead of the other way around. But she's basically been under the thumb of a royal family her entire life, so now getting to be special, I think, is like key, or it will result in her trying to kill him to prove how powerful she truly is, right? So cult signs and signals. The cult of the dragon uses several signs and countersigns among its members. The most common being holding out with the hand with all 5 fingers extended, which is called the Tiamat salute. So like this. In addition, the phrases "All hail Tiamat" and "They shall rise" are frequently used past phrases. Nice. Okay. In addition to other to their signals, cultists often wear a 5-colored band or even use red, blue, and green stripes as coded bits of clothing. Ooh. That's nice because here they don't have to hide. Everywhere else they've seen the cultists. Okay, hold on. Important side notes. Yeah?
That reminds me. So in the back of this book that they've put in the combined Hoard version, there is the concept gallery. It's like Appendix E that has Cult of the Dragon masks and marks and that sweet wardrobe. But there is a section on like the hand tattoos and colorations and jewelry and stuff.
Ooh, let's concept gallery?
Yeah.
Ooh, right. Look at this big boy. Sorry, I got excited. All right. Invasion of Icewind Dale. Hey, I know Icewind Dale.
Mm-hmm. Also, you may recognize some of this Krahulik-ass art.
Yeah, I was like, wait a second.
But it's down in the Cult of the Dragon section.
Wait, did he do this?
Probably. I mean, that's a Kraholic if I've ever seen one.
I mean, it really looks that way. It would be hard to believe. I
think he did some 5e art.
It's time. This doesn't look like Krahulik. Hey, let's get witchy. We could do that, Juicy. Let me grab it. It's been so long since I got witchy, honestly. Let me... Alright, here we go. I'm in it. I'm in the witch hat. Here I am. I'm here for this witchy moment. I feel like we should ask him. Man, Asbarajas is such a BA. He's kind of a dick, but,
Yeah, there's another little section on the Wizards of Thay. I remember we were talking about that.
Yeah. Red wizards are the would-be magical overlords of Faerun, feared by the general public as evil tyrants. Red wizards trade their magical inventions for slaves, steel, silk, and gold. As magical artificers of great skill, they command high prices and are not afraid to extend credit, for there are few who can survive an unpaid debt to these wizards. Oh my god, Cat, this is not your time. But it is, apparently, your time. Oh my goodness. Alright. Oh my god. Alright, ouchies.
Yeah. But yeah, they've put all of these. It's like concept art and other fun tidbits and style.
Looked through this.
Well, yeah. I thought you would appreciate it.
My familiar was summoned by my hat, I feel. I don't know. I don't know what to do. Oh my goodness.
Get witchy.
Dragon masks allow the wearer... So this is important. Dragon masks allow the wearer to think like a dragon of the appropriate color, influence those dragons, and gain their favor. This ability is crucial in keeping the dragons aligned with the cult, right? Because we already know that Varagman Thar, the black dragon in the Mirror of Dead Men, they are very anti-Tiamat because they do not want to have to compete with other dragons or a dragon goddess or queen for their form of rule, which they've been very happy with for a while. The 5 dragon masks can be combined in a ritual to form the supreme mask of the Dragon Queen, which I believe is what we're seeing here.
Mm-hmm.
The wearer of this mask can channel its power to beckon Tiamat from her infernal realm, although she does so willingly, not because the mask compels her. Oh, God. Okay.
And she's done.
What's happening over here? Okay. All right. Oh, why is our music not playing? We don't like that. Boom. Oh yeah. Now we're feeling it again. All right, let me toss this. You're welcome. I have gotten witchy. Now, I fly. I got witchy. Now I am kitty. Ugh, now I gamer gulp. Wow, there's a lot of requests happening right now. All right, chat. Let's dig in. Oh, this is cool. This is what the 5 masks all look like differently. So this is the white mask in question that we were talking about Talus wanting.
Yeah, and they're very reflective of, you know,
this is
dragons.
The black dragon mask. It's interesting that they can all become this one mask, but this mask does not look like any of the other masks. But I guess, you know, there's magic, and so therefore it could have been designed in a cooler way, I think. Let's see, dragon cultists. These are the regular dragon masks. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's like a gem infusion where it just like becomes something completely new. Yeah, that would be true. I think it could have been designed cool. Ooh, these are cool, like stripes to show where you are in the various cults. That's cool. Man, the gloves, the tattoos. We stand. Ooh, I'm very excited to talk about a lot of these things. That's so cool.
Yeah, I thought you would dig that. And then plus this great uniform goth look.
Which one?
All of them, really. Like the fucking Pokemon evolution progression of Initiate
this shit
and up.
To Dragon Soul. Yeah. This is cool. A Dragon Cult recruiter formal wear.
Recruiter formal wear.
Yeah, but in what would be the formal setting where this would be appropriate? Because doesn't the cult like not want people to know? I don't know. It's fine. I still think it's cool.
Sometimes
I think it's cool.
I mean, office fantasy Christmas party. I don't know what Tiamat's like high holy days are.
Oh man. Okay, so the Temple of Tiamat. Ooh, this is cool. We're definitely not there yet, but I'm very excited about that.
Is that the one in the abyss? No.
Icewind Dale. The farthest north region along the Sword Coast, Icewind Dale, is an unforgiving land where the rugged inhabitants of 10 small towns, 10 towns, dedicate themselves to the carving of a living from the snow and ice. The drow elf Drizzt Do'Urden. For a second, I always thought his name was Drizzt O'Durden. But, no. That's like
Drizzt O'Doyle. O'Doyle rules.
Drizzt O'Doyle. Drizzt Tyler Durden. Numbers among the land's most legendary heroes.
You know what? It's still better than the dumb thought I had where it's Do'Urden. Yes, you do. It means nothing, but
you are out of control.
I can't help myself, but yeah.
Man,
we've got just here are some generic. By the way, I haven't read through much of this, but like, are these people who show up, or are these just rando cool adventurers?
These are cool adventurers. I think Remy Haventree is somebody that they've met for sure. The other ones, I don't think so. Red dragons. Okay, so then we're going to talk about all sorts of different dragons now. It's really not helpful to me in this moment. Okay, I think this is great.
Sorry, I know it's a wild diversion from...
Oh, no, it's okay.
The Lodge.
All right, let's go back to the lodge. Okay, so Talus. Okay. And Varen is her rival's name. Hates dwarf hates the dwarf Varen. Hates the dwarf Varen, who has been assigned this task. Okay. Then Resmir Trispin, we've done that. Okay. Resmir, we already know what her deal is, but hated by Resmir, who is a rival, but who already has the black dragon mask, does not want anyone to be in higher esteem than herself. Great. Good enough. That'll be good enough to get us through this chapter, I believe. All right, through the gate. The gate from Castle Naratar closes as soon as the party steps through. The gate cannot be reopened without the proper password, which they won't have. Dark pine woods are all around on the slopes of the mountain valley. The air is cold and fresh. 2 ancient stones stand to either side of you, and no more than a bow shot ahead along the path is a large house with stone on the ground floor and timbers above. Within sight are more standing stones. That's cool. Pine branches shift and sway in gusting fitful winds. A squirrel chitters and then falls silent. Okay, cool. I guess that's a description you could have. Okay, the portal stands between the stone markers. See area 1. Okay. Wait, hold on. Is there like a map? Yes, great. Make this big. Great. Now we have that, so we can refer to it.
And of course.
Okay.
And in Roll20, it's never been easier because you've got all this set up, right?
Yeah, exactly. In Roll20, I have it all set up, so that's not a problem. What's up, Chiron? Thank you so much for that raid with 6 viewers. How's it going? What are you guys up to? All right, let me switch this up for a second. Oh no. Listen, I'm going to greet you properly. We've had some camera time today, but it's gonna happen. How are you guys? Boogie Woogie, what's up, surprise? Hey, forest background is fantastic. I'm so glad to have you. Thank you so much for that sweet, sweet subarino. As you can see, I'm doing my best. We're all just doing our best here. Oh yeah, oh yeah. This is incredible content. Guys, how are you? Greetings and salutation. Been playing more of your Pathfinder Kingmaker. Tough, super tough fight towards the end. Ooh, what kind of monsters were you fighting? Or were they were they the greatest monsters of all, people? We have been sitting here doing what I like to do on Tuesdays, which is plan for my Tuesday evening game of Hoard of the Dragon Queen, which is soon to be moving into Rise of Tiamat. So it has just been a very, very fun time. So Matt and I are sitting here talking in depth about adding characters' backstory. There's this particular NPC here that I wanted to tie to a character from their from a PC's backstory, player character's backstory. So I've been working on that. And yeah, it's been just a ball and a half. But yeah, that's what's up. You found it tracks the save files, not just in hours played, but days played. 5 hours of Pathfinder or 5 days of Pathfinder? You were fighting some greater water elementals. Side note, CR 15. Woo! 5 days. That's Chiron. That's plenty. That's plenty. That's so many days, dude. That's incredible. But yeah. Well, welcome everybody. If you don't know me, I'm Anne Richmond, aka Heartsinger, the head bard in charge around these parts. And Mom, thank you for that subscription. Guys, if you're here because we love tabletop RPGs, and that's what I talk about here on this channel. I do session planning and some actual play content, and then I also run stuff over on my YouTube channel. And if you're not subscribed over there, I put out new tabletop RPG content every Wednesday. Tomorrow, ooh, guys, I have something in the chamber that you guys are going to dig. I am doing an overview of the new epic metal fantasy tabletop RPG from Hunters Entertainment. It's called Gods of Metal Ragnarok. If you were here last week on was it Tuesday or was it Thursday? I think it was Thursday night. I did a character creation stream for that game with the art director from the game. It was Thursday. I'm like, what is time, honestly? And he drew my character while I made it. It was so super, super cool. And I will be running a one-shot this Thursday of the game and announcing the cast with like all their pictures and everything probably tomorrow morning. But tomorrow, during the day, I will be putting out my new video on YouTube that is just less than 10 minutes, everything you need to know about the game and kind of how it's played on a basic level. So yeah, so I'm really, really excited about it. And I'm excited you guys are here to enjoy our session planning for tonight. We're kind of going through this hunting lodge for the first time and deciding what we like and what we don't and what we definitely want to focus on. And right now, my key focus, Matt, who is also here. Say hello, Matt.
Hi, I'm also here.
My key focus is on trying to make sure that my characters know enough about the lodge that they are interested in going there, as opposed to just following Tiamat into the woods. But yeah, that's the plan. Okay, so we're just kind of going through it here. Let's go back. Okay, if the party lingers outside the woods, it finds company. Those with a passive perception score 12 or higher are not surprised by a group of 2 trolls and 3 ambush drakes. Jeez Louise. Okay, so that's another thing we got to check, is to make sure that will be runnable. Okay, the Drake Kennel and Wyvern stables are stone buildings located behind the lodge. So instead of hunting dogs, they have hunting drakes here, which is cool as fuck. Surprise says, it's my Christmas Carol friend. Yeah, on Valentine's Day, Matt and Surprise and our friend Zap were all watching movies on the Discord together, and we watched 2 before I kindly took my leave of consciousness and
but not the
and
Discord.
left, but not the Discord, which I found out the next morning. Discord. So we do all sorts of fun stuff on the Discord, so come on over. Yeah, my life was changed with that Cinderella one. Yeah, I made them watch Ever After, which I love. Are there any other fans of Ever After in the chat aside from obviously?
I'm right here. I'm clearly
10
not
out of 10.
big a fan.
How handsome? Rate on a scale of handsomeness 1 to 10. Doug Ray Scott as Prince Charming.
Like an 8.
An 8? Who is a 10?
I don't know. I'm picking.
God, you're so useless. Leah, what's
Look,
up?
he's just not the most charming.
Leah says, yes, inspiring adorable outfits on the ladies. It's so true. My favorite part is when one of the sisters goes, nee, when she's pretending to be a horse at the buffet. No one who has a sense of what this movie is, if you don't have a sense of what this movie is, you are now wondering if it's a My Little Pony movie. And that's okay. It's fine. There are a couple of years of Ever After groans in the reenactment. Ever After gowns in the reenactment world. That kind of makes sense for sure. I would love to watch, like, there are a lot of YouTubers who do historical like breakdowns of various movies. I have a feeling TikTok will not fail me on that score as well, now that it's having a surge of popularity.
I'm getting Ever After TikToks, so
you've had multiples or just the one?
I would have sent you all of them. No, it's just the one, but I feel like now I'm in it.
Yeah,
in
Matt
this world.
received Ever After TikTok, and he was like, "What have you done to me?"
Waiting for
And
the Nutcracker and that's the other great flick we watched.
we watched Nutcracker and the Four Realms.
Four Realms. Barely
What a
any
shit
realms.
show.
I mean, it's kind of just the one realm, and then like we did a segue through.
They went through. They did like a whole compilation of all
Yeah,
four realms.
we had we had a montage through 3 realms, and then we had kind of a spooky forest, which I guess is the 4th realm.
It is the 4th realm, and we went there at least twice. 3 times if you count the Nutcracker going back there to try and get help. Spoilers. There's a Nutcracker and there are 4 realms. Which is shocking in a movie titled Nutcracker and the 4 Realms. 4 Realms. Yeah, I enjoyed it honestly more than I thought I was, but it was nice to hang out with a group of friends and watch it because the visuals were stunning. The costumes were immaculate, and Keira Knightley was unrecognizable.
She was having too much fun.
She was having the time of her life, and she was like, finally, someone let me be something that's not the ingenue, was what it felt like. She's like, they let me out of my cage. No more period dramas for me, mother. Okay, let's get back into this. So outside the lodge, this ancient building has a wood and plaster upper floor over a fieldstone lower floor. It is shuttered windows are all closed, and the roof is overgrown with moss. A single door stands slightly open. Okay, so the front door's open. Fine. The lodge stands in a forest among tall pines in excellent hunting territory. This building can be accessed through the front door, kitchen door, the shuttered windows, or a hole in the moss-covered roof. Sure. Climbing in through the hole requires a successful DC 15 strength check. A drake kennel and wyvern stables are stone buildings located behind the lodge, near a well and a woodpile. Okay. There's also a peryton nest on the roof. That's fun. Peryton are fun. Terrible creatures. Okay.
Hey, dearest.
Yes.
Dearest Anne. There is a section, so I don't want to skip ahead too much. Let me come back to this.
Except that you have, yes.
But I would like to draw your attention to, in the upper floor, there is a section called Talus's Hall, negotiating with Talus, that has a few of her wants and desires listed.
Oh, let's look at that. That sounds like a thing I should know.
Well, I thought it might be.
Ooh, look at her. Here she is.
Talus
Behold.
the White.
Living. Look at this outfit. She's like, show yourself. Step into your power. Right? Anyone else? No? Just me? Great.
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
Well,
this music is so intense. Let me turn it down. It's really intense. I don't like it. Oh yeah, there we go. That's much better. All right, negotiating with Talus. Talus is wary of the characters, but offers them hospitality to see whether they might be useful tools. Interesting. Okay, wait, let's scroll up because I think there's something above here that I'm gonna want to see.
Most assuredly, but I thought.
Yeah, okay. This encounter is the classic scene where the villain explains herself. Which I do think they'll be willing to do, honestly, because they're gonna recognize her, right? So, okay, what looks to be a well-appointed chamber is filled with furniture and can serve as a place to eat food or discuss important matters. 3 men in the room wear scale mail and carry swords. A woman wears robes over white scale mail, and she holds a wand set with a blue gemstone. Welcome. I consider you to be my guests. Perhaps we can do business. That's what she sounds like, which is just literally Angelica Houston and Ever After. Welcome.
Monologues in.
It comes and goes. This encounter is the classic scene where the villain explains herself. Yeah. Talus's bodyguards include 2 human veterans named Mailgut and Sorvik, and a dragon claw. named Kusfia. This is another good reason to plan ahead, because then you can get your first crack at these name boys. How would you say that name?
Oh God, where is it? Hold on.
Kusfia.
Maglot, Sorovik, and Kushpia.
Ooh. If Talus is slain, the veterans surrender, but Kusfia fights to the death to avenge her slain mistress. Interesting. I'm gonna make them in love. It's already happened. It's already gay.
It took seconds.
I mean, not even. Kusfia. Her lover, Kusfia.
But yeah, the it's always important to take a run at these names.
At her side.
Because if you say it funny once, that's their name forever.
I'm going to say that she's the one who recruited Talus to the cult. And they have been inseparable.
Doing it. No.
Stop it! Fantasy names fraught with hidden dangers. It's true. It's really scary. It's a scary time, right? Okay. Where were we? It was here. Okay. Talus expects to meet some co-conspirators at the lodge to discuss various matters of her own ascendancy in the ranks. If the characters can be turned to her advantage, she would much rather send them against her rival than fight them. At the same time, she knows she cannot be seen as disloyal. So she's gonna know that they're not... Okay, so maybe she's interested in hiring them to kill Rezmir.
Mm-hmm.
Potentially. We'll see. What Talus wants. Talus wants to move up in the ranks by causing her rivals to fail spectacularly. Okay, cool. She urges the characters to thwart the transport of a large treasure hoard. Cultists under Rezmir's command are using a cloud giant's flying castle to expedite the delivery. Talus offers to help the characters get aboard Skyreach Castle before it departs, and then provides them with a banner and useful passphrase. Tiamat, our mother and strength, that will allow them to reach the castle unharmed. Accepting the deal. If the party accepts the deal, Talus prefers to remain behind so that she can use her magic to check on them from time to time. If the characters insist that she join them, she acquiesces but might turn against them depending on how events play out at Skyreach. That makes sense. And I think that's probably more likely to happen given that she is connected to one of the player characters, but her lover is not going to be super happy about that, I would guess. Rejecting the deal. Refusing Talus's generous offer triggers a fight. Talus shouts for reinforcements, which brings gargoyles in from Area 5, the Helmed Horror, and the kobolds. Jesus. That's so many things. Pull out all the stops if things go badly. Talus climbs out a window and flees into the woods or through a portal. Okay.
But it's also possible these are things that the party is already taking care of, right?
Yeah. I mean, I would say, yeah. Okay, so... Talus surrenders. If she's not a to the death sort of villain, she's a survivor. She's willing to surrender and ask for mercy. Instead, she uses her... She's not gonna give up. She's a survivor. She's gonna work harder. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Okay, so... Oh my goodness, okay. Talus identifies the 5 leaders of the cult as worm speakers. Okay, so... Severin the red, Galvin the blue, Neronvain the green, Rezmir the black, and Varum the white. Okay. She explains the significance of the banner and reveals the various cult signs and signals. Okay, if that is not all sufficient, she tells them the cult has an enormous hoard of valuables in a castle nearby. She reveals that the castle belongs to the Cloud Giant, which she already will have revealed that they're using it. If all of that is not enough, she tells the party that a great white dragon inhabits the castle. Oh! Snow White Glazhail, the Cloud Chaser. Oh my god.
This is the nicest anyone's ever spoken about a white dragon before, I think, in the history of D&D. It's the first sentence I think I've seen where somebody hasn't immediately followed up with, yeah, but white dragons
They're a monster, but white dragons are gross. Gross and suck.
They're so
They're
dumb.
bestial. That's what they say. They're the most bestial of the 5 colors. Snow White Glazhail. Glazhail. Glazel?
Gesundheit.
Shut up! How would you say this name?
Let me... Sorry, I was reading ahead. Glabagoogle. Glazale.
Glazale. Glazhail.
See, I'm incredibly lazy when it comes to naming things,
Glazhail.
and I will bail on the fancy dragon name and just call them Cloud Chaser.
I mean, it's true, and I will do that, but I love, like, if somebody would just teach me Elvish, right?
I had a friend in grad school who could write in perfect Elvish.
It's so, like, listening to Liv Tyler speak in Elvish just pleases me. It's something that's pleased me since I was young. Leah says, fantasy names fraught with hidden dangers is very true. It's very true. All right, let me paste this in here. Oh yeah, paint in the 5 chromatic colors, gloves.
All the colors of the wind? Don't even need them. Just 5.
Just 5. Fingerless gloves, capes. Capelets, I feel like, is a big aesthetic based on what we love. What?
Well, no, so in my hacking game last night, they're trying to infiltrate some Drawn Enterprises, and like they just had to go and like sneak onto a boat, and they were just like, they've got a base of operations here, and they all have like this like dark uniform. They must buy their uniforms around here. We got to find a wholesaler.
Gotta find it.
And the idea that like there must be, right, like somebody out there who is just making all the fancy capes for all the cultists. A cultist cape.
So true. I mean, listen, they've all somewhere in that flying castle is a cape maker. It's got to be true. Okay, so keeping hole in the roof. Talus's bedchamber. Talus keeps a locked chest in this room. She carries the key. It has some spell scrolls in it. Good to know. Bodyguard's chamber. Veterans who serve Talus have taken these well-furnished quarters for their own. They are Maelgott, Sorvik, and Wessick the Wizened. Wessick, a human, which is like such a great name. Wessick.
How do I know you're not the main bad guy, but you're kind of a dick?
Wessick is your name. That's how you know. You've got a little bit of you've got a title, and you've got a blown W. Speaking of blown things, not what you're thinking. Get your minds out of the gutter. I was thinking of Blown Away. Is that the name of the Netflix show? So my friend Jenna, who plays in this game, was like, well, it's kind of like Blown Away. And I was like, what is that? And apparently it's a Netflix reality show where people compete for like the title of best glass blower. Were you aware of this? It's quite good.
Wait, the glass blowing thing?
Yeah.
Yes, and I don't know where I first heard about it. I have not watched it because
it's quite good. It's very chill. And when people get voted off, they're just like, well, thank you for the opportunity, and they leave. It's not like Survivor at all.
They don't just take their like whatever cool thing they made of glass and smash the shit out of it and be like, this was awful.
Well, that's one of the things that like I used to watch it to try and fall asleep, and by that I mean last night. I tried to fall asleep, but I was way too invested, and sometimes they'll do something and they'll like pull it out of the glory hole, and then like they'll set it on the whatever it is that they Spin what?
Nothing. So blow me in the glory hole.
That word has two different meanings, but this is the actual meaning of that's what you call it.
I don't.
In a hot shop, that's what you call it. This is not getting better. This is not getting better.
No.
I swear, you gotta watch the show. I'm not making this up. This is what they call the glass blowing studio, the hot shop, and the glory hole is the part of the kiln that is making the fire that heats up the glass so you can mold it.
Now the question is that like an industry term, or is that just what these filthy mongrels said?
No, that's an industry term. It's called the hot shop.
No, not the hot. Hot shop is not the word.
And glory hole. Look it up here. I'm gonna.
No, sorry. Yeah, maybe you don't Google that on Twitch.
I wasn't thinking.
Go ahead.
I wasn't thinking. Okay, hold on. Here.
Jesus.
Thank God you were here.
Let me just Google glory hole for all to see. Prove to you.
Glory hole.
Listen. I may not know a lot, but I understand the basics of SEO.
I need you.
And how bad that was about to be.
I need you to know that the title of the first article was this, and I'm just gonna bring it up on the screen so that you can see it and understand it, and it's perfectly fine to see. Okay, here we go. Reveal.
Mm-hmm.
Who invented the glory hole? Glassblowers or gays?
Well,
this term features prominently on a hit Netflix show that is surprisingly not homosexual porn. Glory holes. And then it shows you what the glory hole looks like.
Whoa. Well, don't scroll down.
Well, I'm not going to scroll down, but it's Slate, so I doubt there's just going to be pornography on this page. Anyways, welcome to stream, everybody. The more we know.
This is obviously a D&D discussion.
Also, you would never know that I looked up glass if you just saw this preview on the tab. Glory hole term origins did gay. If I pull this up, that can't stay there. We have to get rid of that. Okay, let's get back into this. Sorry for that incredible journey there, but we gotta focus down here because somebody has to run this game later, and it's me. Okay, once a feast hall. Ooh, the Queen of Dragons chamber. Let's look at where this would be. 20.
This is the ground floor. 20 is upper floor.
On a different floor. Where's? Come on, man.
Upper lodge.
Here we go.
Like if you just hit upper lodge.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Open a new tab. Great. So Talus's hall, which is where this whole thing would happen, is in 16. So this bottom chamber here, and then this is where Wessick the Wizened is. Wine bottles and money. Always good. Okay. Queen of Dragons chamber. A roaring fireplace churns out heat and light at one end of this spacious 30-foot-high chamber, the ceiling of which is buttressed by 10 wooden pillars carved as dragons. 5 large tapestries hang along the walls, 2 in the west wall flanking a door, 2 on the east wall, hanging side by side, and a particularly grand one dominating the south wall next to the fireplace. Once a feast hall, this room is now set aside for cult gatherings, which makes sense because this is where they gather to make certain decisions. 4 of the 5 tapestries. Night. What?
Game night.
Game night. D&D. 4 of the 5 tapestries each shows dragon hunting, killing. Dragons hunting, kill. I was like, why would they hunt the dragons? They love those guys. Killing and feasting on lesser creatures, with blue dragons attacking a desert caravan, elves succumbing to a green dragon's gaseous breath weapon, a red dragon burning down what might be the castle ward of Waterdeep, and a black and white dragon circling over cold swamp-dotted ruins. Cool, love that. Why are the black and the white one together? Not in like a weird problematic way, but why would they not have their own things?
What do you mean?
Like everyone else is shown, every other color of dragon is shown by themselves, but the black and the white one are together.
I think traditionally the most powerful of the 5 are the red, blue, and green in that order. And
so these are lesser creatures.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't tell them that.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't start with it. For sure.
I'm sure they might have the objections, but it is what it is. Space.
Each of these pieces of art, each of these tapestries is worth 500 to you, the buyer, but they each weigh 75 pounds. Why would they take them? The 5th tapestry shows Tiamat, queen of evil dragons, in all of her glory, crowned in gold and silver, worked with gemstones and gold and silver thread. Fully 35 feet wide. That's huge. It shows Tiamat crushing cities surrounded by adoring followers. The tapestry weighs about 200 pounds and is worth 2,500 gold pieces. Wow. Whew. 800 gold pieces if you just remove the gemstone. Just rip those bad boys off. Okay. Close examination tapestry. Okay, locations in the Sword Coast. Okay, so attacking caravan in the desert. The Mirror of Dead Men. Yeah, that makes sense. That's what I thought it was going to be. Okay, cool. Secret door. The outline of a secret door can be found with a DC 20 wisdom check. Is that noted here?
Yeah, where it says...
Oh, here.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Makes sense, what you say.
Or secret.
Okay. So... Let's see. Oh, wrong page. I was like, I wrote this. What's wrong with me? Okay, the door opens into a trophy room. 3 open windows let in light and air. The room's walls are adorned with stuffed animal heads, including a large 14-point stag, a mountain goat, a bear, 2 winter wolves, and what can only be an Ankheg's head. Those are like those weird bug creatures, right?
Yeah.
2 tattered banners hang from the ceiling, 2 leather chairs, and a handful of braziers complete a comfortable parlor. This is a hunter's bragging room. Okay, so there's like nothing in there. Just don't even worry about it.
And it has a secret door that goes to Area 20. Like, why? What a weird...
Like, 21, it's cool, but like, there's nothing in there that helps anything.
Why is
there's
it
nothing
a secret?
of value in there. Like,
what a
why
bad secret.
Yeah, why would you have... Like, we're not just about dragons taking over the world. We also hunting lesser beings.
Okay, but like, looking at the map, the room itself is not a secret. Because there is just a normal door that goes into that room.
Oh, this one here?
Yeah, 21, the trophy room.
Oh, yeah, this is the secret. Yeah.
There's a door that bridges the rooms, and that's a secret, which I guess has a use. But like, I
mean, I would say.
But when I was first reading it, I thought that the trophy room was like a secret room that should have had cool stuff in it. But then it's just like another room.
I think the use of the secret door here would be to spy on somebody trying to hold a meeting in this area, or to get out, because this has been owned by various nobles over time. You know. Okay, Peryton Roost. The nest abuts a chimney that leads down to Talus's shut up bed chamber and belongs to a mated pair of perytons. So I feel like we've pretty much covered this. If you're using milestone, characters reach 7th level after clearing the hunting lodge. Ah, shit.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I leveled mine up so that I leveled mine up more because everything was built to kill them, so I gave them an extra level. I was like, why did I do that? There's a reason. Okay, so the village of Parnest Sadi, what's up? Trophies in a hunting lodge, just a bunch of heads. It's very true. I think we're mostly confused by the fact that, like, the trophies in here are, like, there's so much more that's impressive in this hunting lodge. It's very clear that somebody was like, well, we have to remember our roots, and just kept all the trophies in one room instead of, like, hanging them all around.
Some cultist is just like, you know, I don't know what to do with this room. I'd love to do something with this space,
it's like an Animal Crossing room where, like, you're just like, I guess there's a theme here, so I'll just put all these things in that room.
We can't just, I mean, it came with the house, and we can't just throw it all out, but I like to imagine that it wasn't a trophy room, but, like, this stuff was just, like, elsewhere in the house, and it's now just piled up.
Let me tell you guys, easy alibi in case you shoot something, someone or something from the balcony. It's so true. It's so true. Also, Sadi, what's up? How are you doing? How's it going? Are you playing any interesting RPGs? What's going on in your life? Tell me everything. Tell me everything. So let's think now, because now we've kind of covered a lot of different things. We need to think about how we can introduce a new player character who's going to be joining the game, and then I'm gonna have to do some balancing before tonight, I think. But where would you introduce a new player here?
Now, which one is the new player, and what is? I
don't know.
No. Sorry, what is their class? What are they bringing?
Literally don't know yet.
Oh, sorry.
I know nothing. Like so here's the way that we're handling this, and this is like kind of a bigger question, I think. So here's a question that I think we can kind of use the last bit of stream to discuss in a more informal way, because now I kind of have an idea of where they're going, which is great. When it comes to introducing, have you ever been in a situation where you've come into a game that was pre-established, or had to be the host that was bringing in a new player to an already established game, and how did that go? And what's your advice for it?
This one is not one I have, like, I have not had to on. What's not true? I had to onboard. I mean, I think the classic move is, and you find a dungeon, and oops, there's a new friend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's definitely a good solve for, like, how you introduce them. Oh, Sadi says they haven't had time for tabletop RPGs because things have been so stressful. Luckily easing up, though, and I'm so glad to hear that, dude. I'm so glad. I'm glad you came to hang out today. It's always good to have you. I think... So I have had to enter 2 games that were in progress. One was Curse of Strahd, which I'm currently playing and coming down to the end of. And the other one was my Eberron game, which I just finished like about almost a month ago, probably. Something that I think is really important for Dungeon Masters to do is to get a sense of what people already like about the game they have. Because you're going to want to find not just a warm body, but somebody who's going to fill that void that you guys naturally have. Somewhat because of the choice of what type of character they're going to play, but also like a personality void, right? You don't want to just bring in somebody that's gonna change the game so much. And I will say that, like, me coming into the Eberron game is a really good example. I have 2 examples that I mentioned, and one of them I think was less successful and ended up being okay, but the other one was very successful. In Eberron, the entire party was a part of a government military operation that they had been a part of through all of their version of Lost Mine of Phandelver, which had been Eberronified for that particular group. And now, for me, coming in, I wanted to play a changeling that was very anti-establishment. And whether or not the DM knew that was going to be an issue or, like, thought ahead, like, that's a huge problem. If everyone is enjoying the way the game is and then I bring in a character, and I am a very like vocal player, we'll say, that is just very anti they are. I wish I had been prepared for more of what the party was like coming into it, so I could make character choices that would have gelled a little bit better, because it was very PvP-esque in the beginning, and some people are fine with that, but I had to basically hide who I was from them for as long as possible, and then hope that they didn't kill me when they found out, which was cool for me as an acting challenge, but also not fun afterwards for like the 6 months where, you know, I finally revealed myself to be a changeling and at odds with everything the party was trying to do the entire time, and they couldn't just feel like they could do what their characters wanted without being questioned constantly. Do you have any thoughts about that, Matt, or how to do that or solve that problem?
I mean, you know, it's communication is key, certainly. You know, if you find a new player, fill them in on, you know, who you've got if you're the DM. If you are the player coming in, you know, ask these questions. And if you are a player expecting a new person, poke your DM and be like, hey, tell them we're weird. Tell them we're weird. Warn them.
I think Surprise says, I was a late addition to the game and our DM handled it pretty well, except that your first dungeon was terrifying. Well, which yeah, that could be true. How do you think they handled it well, Mom? And Sadi Toast says, what I've seen succeed multiple times is the new player getting information the main party doesn't have. And this is kind of where I think I want to go, because I want to make them incredibly valuable to the party, so that the party is like waiting to welcome them for whatever reason. Now, I don't want to tell them, you know, so they have to be a particular class or a particular person necessarily, but I do want to pose the potential of, you know, do you want to be my lover? No. Do you want to be
with my friends?
Not Talus, but be Respia, or Thespia? That's whatever her name is. Like, do you want to be that person who's like Talus's right-hand person, who maybe goes with them instead of Talus? You know, I don't know. Or maybe they're another person that, you know, we move. It has to be interesting to the person coming in. I will say that in my Curse of Strahd game, it worked because I already knew enough about the campaign to know who Irina was, and that I wanted to play Irina as a character, and I had kind of my own take on it, which it's in my YouTube video, so feel free to, again, if you're not subscribed to my YouTube, go subscribe to my YouTube, because you're missing out on weekly tabletop videos, and you'd be sad that you're not watching them. But I think that worked because they already needed me within the context of the story. So taking an NPC and making them a PC and carving whatever it says about the NPC around whatever that person wants to be, not forcing them, you know, to be a square peg in a round hole, so to speak, is important. The other thing that I will say that our team is going to be doing is we are going to be holding kind of like one-shot almost auditions with people, because everybody really wants to play this game through to its conclusion, and they don't want to have a situation where they have random people coming in and out until we find the right fit. So I have created a one-shot for next week, because they'll be at kind of like a good stopping place this week, where we'll have the person in question come do a one-shot with us, and if that works, then we'll bring them into the game. I already have a really good feeling about this person, and they're friends with one of the people in the group, and I know they really, really enjoy playing with them, and I think that would be really nice. I'm excited to meet them because I've heard so much about them. But yeah, that is the plan, is to kind of run a test. What do you think about that? Because I'm not sure, even after this was the suggestion of one of my players, and even though I'm happy to acquiesce to it, I'm also kind of like, how do you propose that to a person without making them feel like they're coming to a job interview? Thoughts?
I don't know. Because, like, a lot of my, like, longer campaigns are generally people I already know. Mm-hmm. And when I've done just one-shots, it's whoever shows up at a table.
Yeah.
So I don't have like the time. I just have to wing it with whoever shows up when I'm doing like stuff at a convention. You remember conventions, places where people gather to do stuff.
Shocking. Yeah. When we first met, you had been basically running games all fucking day.
Yeah. That was So I ended up getting my ticket to PAX that year, or my hotel room paid for, in the agreement of, oh hey, I'll run games. But I did not realize it would be like, hey, you're gonna run games all day, forever.
So, I feel like people should know more about you. I'm gonna force you to talk about yourself. I know you hate it, but what do you think?
About me? What do we want to talk about me?
I'm going to talk about how great you are in a second. First, I'm going to read Surprise. I just wanted to prepare you mentally for that. Surprise says, my player had a cousin, or your character, right? Your character had a cousin who he was looking for. My DM had me headed the same way as the party, which meant we all had the same simple location goal. And his party encounters him needing help to fix his wagon, which gave the characters now a vehicle rather than just walking everywhere. So it looks like they gave you a common interest in a first destination at least, and then something of value that you had that they needed, which could be a physical thing or it could be information. So I think giving this person the option of being, let's write down some potential options for a player character to be introduced here, and then we're going to talk to Matt about his ways. Character introduction opportunities. A Harper in undercover, right? In the cult. Just a legit cultist who travels with the party at Talus's behest. A prisoner of some kind. And that can be the circumstances of that. Can you think of any other ones?
Sorry, I'm getting this image. So basically, like, if they've got like an important or kind of more powerful NPC, friend, ally, they can be sent with a note or that information. It's the same thing, but it's just like, oh hey, here's a further connection, right?
Yeah. They're not going to be sent anything because they're going to have gone through the portal and arrived here. Or unless you mean the new player character would be sent. The
new player character.
It would be really hard for that to happen, I think, just because the whole reason that the player characters have to go through this portal is they don't know where the portal leads. So, and they've been sent by everyone in the world. The Emerald Enclave, the Harpers, like the Flaming Fist, everyone wants to know where the portal is going.
Onboarding them into... By the way, is this tonight?
No, this person will not be joining tonight because I don't know what class they're playing. This is going to be after probably 3 weeks from now, maybe 4 weeks from now, the character introduction. But I want to have a sense of it now because I think they'll probably see Talus tonight, but not necessarily meet her. And I want to save them.
So they might not even necessarily be in this lodge.
So where they are right now is they're in Castle Neritar, so they're one chapter back.
Okay.
And they are planning on going to the through the portal next. And so what I have to do is it's going to be a lot of exposition, and a lot of them deciding to split the party, basically, which we already know they're going to do because the fighter wants to change and play her son instead, who is an NPC in the party right now. And so that transition will happen, and they'll have a little bit of moving through the bowels of the thing, but they're dressed as cultists, and they've already made the check, so they just have to continue making good checks to get through the bottom of this place and through the portal. So yeah, That's the plan. They are probably going to deal with, if anything, I'll have them run into one of those hunting parties outside the lodge tonight. But they might go into the lodge and they might glimpse Talus, but they're not going to be meeting Talus tonight, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think.
Okay.
If they attempt to, I'm going to be like, okay, and that's where we end for tonight, because I got to work somebody else into this.
Because the real problem with they're in a jail scenario, or like they are waiting in like some key location, is they're there, the session starts, and your fucking players don't get to that spot. And you have this extra person just awkwardly sitting around.
I would say that is something that I wish more people were flexible with. If somebody is a prisoner, have it flexible where they're located and get them in there in the action as soon as possible. My thought would be to, if I don't get them that far, which I never know whether they're going to speed through something or take a million years to do it. So if they get through and don't fight guards, I would have this person being, held to task by the guards on the way in, if that's the point that this person was getting at. Or if it's in the thing, I would just have them in the first room that they enter in the lodge.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what that room is, they're just tied up in there and being dealt with. I hate when people are like, well, you're in room 20, and until they get to room 20, they just won't know you. Like, there's a certain point at which you have to put fun above everything else, right? And I've definitely seen other people struggle to bring new players in that way. So getting them involved, and I think key things that we've talked about were absolutely making sure they have something of value that the party needs so that they can be the center of attention for an introduction for a little bit. And making sure that player is comfortable going through. I'm also using it as an opportunity to redo session 0 with everybody, so that anybody who wants to update anything I have like a thing that I send out, like a survey to everybody who ever does a game with me, and have them fill it in. So I'm having the people who we had a conversation at section 0, but I didn't have like my pro DMing ways down at that time. So even though we had a session 0, I didn't have like the same filing system. And the reason that I like this is because now if folks who are playing in that game then want to play in a Patreon game, I have access to an updatable form of everyone's needs for content, and their consent lists. So I can say, okay, so these 4 people are playing, so I need to pull all of their yellows and reds, their lines and veils into an anonymous doc that includes everybody's everything.
What are yellows and reds? Sorry.
So yellows.
I know lines and veils, but.
So I have a whole list of potential topics, and in those lists it'll be is this a green, which means great, go ahead, include it. A yellow, which means I'm not super into this, if we could touch on it lightly or not at all, that would be great. And then a red, which is absolutely unsafe around this, do not want it. So what I do, so that people don't have to necessarily reveal if they don't want to what their own particular stuff is I take everybody's and have any follow-up conversations, and then I create an anonymous list that includes all the yellow topics and all the red topics for everybody, so that nobody has to share more than they want to. If anybody wants to, once I prepare that and put it out to anybody, they're welcome to talk about what they need. But I like to keep it light like that, in case people don't are embarrassed, because I find that is sometimes true with stuff that is triggering for people, is they're embarrassed about it or don't want to share a personal anecdote, which I think is important. Chiron says, whatever you do, don't make them a potential enemy. While it can be an interesting dynamic, it has the scope for going horribly, horribly wrong. When my new player crit my long-term player, it was an interesting and dynamic way of introducing the character. Yeah, it does sound that way. So guys, we're coming around to the end of stream, and I just want to show you something awesome that is happening in our lives on this channel. I'm going to pull it up again here. Jasper's Game Day is a fantastic charity run by Fenway, the teen DM, who is just such a light in the darkness in our community. Jasper's Game Day was something is a charity that she was excited to start in honor of a friend who loved D&D, and it is a suicide awareness charity, and they raise money to combat that and make sure that people have resources when they need it. They've been working with D&D for a really long time, and especially D&D Beyond, to put on various actual plays with all sorts of like influencers and actual play performers that you will love and recognize. And this year, let's scroll on down here. Who's this? This is Hearthsinger Games. It looks like, and I've been planning this for a bit of time here. I will be working with them to pull in Paizo and some Pathfinder and Starfinder games. May 8th to 10th is when it is happening. Oh, I said look at this, but you can't see it, so that's not helpful. Here's it's not showing us much here. Yeah, so this, thank you, Chiron. I was like, that's not helpful. Thank you for that. So yeah, so this is the event. Mark your calendars. Our Paizo stuff is going to be May 8th through 10th. I believe that's a Saturday through a Monday, and it will be all day long on this channel. There will be 2 or 3 actual plays with all sorts of people from the community, people you'll recognize from D&D shows and Pathfinder and Starfinder shows, some people that I already know, new people that I don't. I have been working with Jason from What Do You Pods to put together an awesome cast list, and to raise money for charity, we will be auctioning off some seats at these tables for Jasper's Game Day. So once you see who's at these tables, you too could be at them, which is just nuts and amazing, and I'm so excited. So I'll be in some of these games. They will all be hosted here. I think I'm going to be in one per day, but it will be tons of different people from across the industry and the tabletop community, and I'm so excited and honored to be working with Jasper's Game Day on this, and to bring such a cool event as kind of our first big charity event of the year to the channel. So May 8th through 10th, mark your calendars. It is going to be crazy. There's going to be seats for auction, raffles, prizes to be won. I know already that Penny Arcade is going to be donating some cool giveaway items, and God, who else? Paizo is going to be doing some giveaways for various things, like PDFs of different things. It's going to be great. Do you have any thoughts about how great this is going to be, Matthew?
I'm excited.
I'm excited, he say. So get excited. Make sure you follow Jasper's Game Day. It's just at Jasper's Game Day. It should be that easy.
And this is in April. This is a ways away.
No. So
No?
April is the D&D one, and then May 3rd through 8th is the Pathfinder Starfinder games.
Ah.
Yeah.
Coming up.
So it's even further out. But yeah, there's a chance that I might do another charity thing before that, because it is so far away, and I do like to support different charity stuff on this channel. But for right now, that is the plan. Very excited about it. So with that being said, I'm excited about this chapter. I think it has the opportunity to provide my players with another dungeon, since they skipped the last one that I put in front of them. But I think it'll also have it sounds like between the trolls and the Periton, like they've been doing a lot of like fighting of cultists and just random people. It's been a while since they fought like different cool creatures, which is fun for everyone involved. And I gotta say, Roll20 is great, because they give you when you buy an adventure on Roll20, they give you everything already preloaded there. And it makes it easier to just be like, okay, well, this is happening. I'm gonna pull over the tokens and get started. All the dynamic lighting is done for you. So yeah, so again, hashtag not sponsored, but it could be. And I'm very, very excited about that. So Matt, do you have anything you want to shout out before we peace out for the day?
I've got a whole lot of nothing going on, but
A whole lot of nothing. We were going to talk about you. We're not leaving.
Right.
Talk about you. Okay,
Damn
here
it!
we go. So
And once
Matt,
again, we've avoided the spotlight. Yes.
So Matt is looking for a jorb. And so I had the opportunity to kind of like go through his cover letter and like chat with him about like in more detail about professionally what he's done. We've like known each other for a while, but like we really talked in depth about it. And one of the things that you did was you actually edited Paizo titles, and I didn't know that. I knew that you had like edited some TTRPG stuff. I didn't know that you like legit had worked for Paizo as a contractor.
Yeah, I did a little freelance editing for Paizo.
So what interests you about like the writing of adventures and stuff?
It's one of those things where I feel like I've read it enough to where I see how it should be shaped. But I enjoy a good, well-written adventure that is just not like. Yes, it helps the DM or GM run it for their players, but it's also not boring for the GM to read. Yeah. Those are my.
I also think is like big because I think that's a really big deal because the receiving of all of this information, which is what we're doing, is really difficult. And I find that, you know, again, as the first one of these that they released for 5th edition, it's probably less easy than other adventures they've released since.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think makes, like, what's your tactic for reading ahead in an adventure, and how do you parse the information?
Oh, I tend to read the whole thing through
From start to finish?
From start to finish.
Wow.
And then, and so then that information just kind of lives in my head. And but then like before my session, I'm going to do a little bit of planning. I'll read the sections I think they will get to, and you know, any sections that may pertain, and try and remember NPCs that, you know, should exist, and, you know, take a run at those names. Because
take a run at those names. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's good. I think something that is really helpful, has been helpful for me, and I think we should maybe talk about it on another stream, is like when you're creating a homebrew, like how do you notate things and what is important to notate, especially if you might want to publish on like DM's Guild or something later. Because I think that's one of the things that gets in between people who are really creative and like definitely have something they could share and monetize if they wanted to. No pressure, right? But like how do you parse information in a way that is able to be used by the human mind? Which I think not everybody thinks about when they're just coming up with an adventure. Am I right? Am I wrong? What are your thoughts?
Most definitely. I think people have a tendency to dump all the information and then kind of forget to go back and order it and maintain it and present it in a way that is like a logical flow.
For sure. Yeah. All right. Well, if that's something you guys might want to hear about, maybe that's something we should do as a group. I think depending on how this next game goes, I might dive back into creating this one-shot on Thursday. We're doing an actual play. So tomorrow, new YouTube video drops. Make sure you are subscribed on the YouTube to learn all about Gods of Metal Ragnarok, because on Thursday night, I will be here at 6 p.m. Eastern doing an actual play of that game, and it is an epic metal fantasy game. Yes, it is. It is what if everybody was a bard, and what if metal music was actually fantasy? Like, it's everything. I'm very excited about it. And we're going to be playing that at 6 p.m. on Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern. And then Friday, I'll be back here talking with somebody on our Around the Hearth talk show. Don't don't have total revelation for you yet as to what that's going to look like. But stay on the Discord. If you're not there, join us. Tons of people who love to talk about RPGs and video games and finding players and all that stuff is all on the Discord. I invite you to join us. Join us like the cult of the dragon. Join us. Hail the Dragon Queen, strength and honor be unto her. And join the Discord while you're at it. All right, let's find somebody to raid. Who should we raid today? What are our thoughts here?
See who's. I mean, Fuzzy's always around.
Ooh. Let's raid Eleanor Di Lorenzo. She's playing Lethal Nightmares right now, and we're gonna go say hi. So make sure you guys join me in celebrating with her over there. All right, let's start this raid, guys. All right, love you. Bye.